My name is Jan, and I would like to have the slides on the screen if possible. I had a very interesting evening last night. On this evening, I heard from Miha, while we were talking together from Slovenia, that I'm sort of a dinosaur. Because I stopped smoking in the last century. Who else did stop smoking in the last century? I had my first kiss in the last century. And I had my first job in the last century. Just imagine that. That's incredible. So even though it's even more important to look at the signals which are around us. And I would like to take you now onto a journey where I take large OEMs too. I work for BMW, I work for Rolls-Royce and some others. And what I would like to take you along is a trip through Munich this time, not Switzerland. Switzerland is great. Now we go for a trip through Munich. But before that, you should ask yourself a few questions. Where is the world going to? Whether we go there or not. Second question is, who do you want to be in that world? What is your role, Sebastian? What is your role, Jos? What is your role, Professor Lehmann? What is our role there? And the third one is, and I really appreciate what the Council General from Germany said, how do we get there? Because it's nice to talk about it, but it's more important to get things done. So these are the three questions I would like to take you along. Now, for 23 hours, an average car is sitting around in a parking lot somewhere and is sleeping. 23 hours in Germany. So you invest your money. How much is an average car in India? Okay, so would you invest in something you only use 1 hour per day? This amount of money? That's an interesting question. A lot of people do. Actually, they take a loan for that. If you think that on an economic scale, this is quite something. Okay, let's think about that one. The next one is an average Munich inhabitant is searching 50 hours per year for a parking lot. 50 hours, that's 1 working week. Now you take 1 working week for 1 million people, and then you scale that up. You just see what you lose at workforce, not talking about holidays. So 50 hours per week, you're wasting your time searching for a parking lot. I don't know what it's like in Bengaluru, but I imagine it's something. In Munich, you've got at the moment around 1.2 million people living there, and they're owning 821,000 cars. They're registered in Munich. 821,000 cars. In Munich, you stand in a traffic jam 52 hours. 52 hours per year. Again, a working week. I don't know what it's like in Bangalore. I arrived yesterday, and it took me 2 hours from the airport in. So I imagine you can take up the figures. There's probably a lot more. Okay, so this is what we're facing. And if you look at this picture here, these are some other traffic jams. And on the right-hand side, so you see the longest traffic jam that ever took place in the world. That is in China, by the way. It was 100 kilometers long. 100 kilometers. And it took you 10 days to get through there. Just imagine that. And actually, this was the start of their holidays. Do you know how many days the Chinese people have on holidays? Exactly. And that was the start of the holiday. So they enjoyed the holiday in a traffic jam. Right. So that's what we're facing. The picture in the middle, this is Lagos, by the way. Lagos is one of the strongest and fastest growing cities in the world. They will go up in 2030 up to now 25 million people. 2050, there will be around 40 million people living under these conditions. The picture on the middle, on the left-hand side, it's Delhi, by the way. You know how many people will live in Delhi in 2030? Any idea? At the moment, we've got 25.
At the moment, around 20.
Around 20. Well, the new figure is about 35 million people will live in 2030 in Delhi. Just imagine 15 million more people living in Delhi, and adding to that all this traffic. This is what we're facing. Some other figures. 1.3 million people get killed by traffic accidents. The next traffic number I can't even read. It's something 5 and a lot of zeros on the back. Hours traffic jams all over the world. You see the CO2 carbon footprint of cars, and you see overall in the world only 4% the car is used per day. And these are the figures from Roland Berger. So if you look at all these signals, you know we have to do something. So maybe one of these disruptors is the solution for that. Maybe. It's Tesla, and if you look at these figures here, they already overtook the big luxury brands like Mercedes and Porsche in the States in 2018. The Model 3 came in, and it's already on first place as well in the States. They are developing a lot of new cars, new trucks, all electrified. The money is there as well. If you look at these figures here, this is about the stock evaluation. You see on the left-hand side Tesla. Tesla wasn't there 15 years ago, and now they're higher rated than BMW. They are higher rated than BMW, and they are here for 100 years. Tesla for 15. So there's something happening in that world of car makers, car industry, OEMs. And if you look a bit deeper into details on that, you find out for a typical diesel engine, you need 1,200 parts to be mounted into that engine, and a lot of jobs are connected with that. And a lot of engineering, VDMA, I really love the work you do, but a lot of engineers are working very hard to get these diesel engines going. And they need 1,200 parts to get this engine moving. For an electric motor, you only need 17 parts. So there's a disruption coming. And some people are moving into that field which were not there before. You see the Byton on the side, on the right-hand side. The Byton, they call themselves a driving app. This Byton, by the way, the management team is the management team from the Model 3, BMW i3, and the i8. They didn't see a future in their company, so they moved on. You see these guys here, NVIDIA. You know where they come from? What did they do before? Pardon? Graphic cards for? Gaming. They were gamers. And suddenly these guys are starting to build cars. There's a disruption going on here. You see the Google car, the Waymo car. And if you look at this car, everybody was laughing about it. And all these OEMs were like, oh, look at that. This is not a car. You know what happened in the story from then. You see in the middle, the yellow car there. This is from the German Post. The German Post is producing cars. Why is that? Because they were asking the big OEMs, hey, listen, we need a transporter electrified, and we need it now. And the big companies said, oh, yes, we're working on it later on. They got sick of that and started to build their own company. And now they do with the University of Aachen, they produce their own cars. So the Post is moving into car production. And if we talk about disruption, here we go. And on the middle, you see Sanjay, and he's from Pune. And he's a great guy. He converted a Land Rover year 92 into an autonomous car here in India. He was covered by the BBC, and please support him, he's great. Okay, so there are some other people coming into that. You see here a convertible. It's a 3D printed car by Local Motors. You see Bosch is moving into the field of producing cars. You see Continental is moving into producing cars. And you see on the right-hand side, again, from Local Motors, buses. So in this industry is a lot of going on. So maybe the next solution might be having a Tesla for the drivetrain, having an Apple for the user interface, having Google for connecting with the connected world, and then maybe having people like Uber providing ride services. The reaction in the industry is quite harsh. Volvo is transforming the whole fleet into electric cars. Toyota announced this year in Slovenia, 2019 in April, we need to build less cars. Less cars. So there's a car manufacturer saying we need less cars on the road. Just imagine what this guy is going through in his company. Just imagine, you go there and say, oh no, we don't have to sell more, we have to sell less. This is disruption. The CEO from BMW resigned. Daimler and BMW are joining forces for autonomous driving since April this year. Volkswagen and Ford are joining forces. They announced that just this month. Google and Fiat Chrysler are joining forces since October. Alibaba and Tencent are moving into the mobility services. And Dyson, you know Dyson? You know the vacuum cleaner? So this vacuum cleaner guy is going into the mobility space. Talking about disruption. So coming back to the question we had before. So is it really about more or other cars, or is it different? As I said to you, we have in Munich 821,000 cars registered in Munich. What if we would have a place like that? A lot less cars? And what do you think? How many cars would you need to provide the same driving solution, logistic, if you have robot cars? How many do you think? Give a guess. 20%? He's an engineer here. That's right. We actually need between 20,000 and at the most 100,000 robotaxis in the streets to provide the same and even better mobility solutions in the city for Munich. And if you read these numbers, you as an OEM should really think about your business model. And this is where the world is going to, and I really enjoyed living in Switzerland because they're pretty far on that. In Switzerland, you've got a very, very good public transport, but it's not connected to the rest of the transportation. So what we really have to think about is moving to a mobility operator. This is the question we have to face. To connect the world of public transport, private transport, bikes, push bikes, and logistics for companies as well. So this is the picture we should work on. It's about real-time traffic management. It's about connected vehicles. It's about road user charging. It's about smart payment. It's about multi-purpose use of transportation. It's about car sharing, ride sharing in the whole ecosystem. That's what we have to move to. So this is where the world is going to, and these are the guys who are playing in that game. And I really invite you to play in that game as well, because this is where the world is going to. And now coming back to the Tesla story. Now, Tesla as a car, is that the answer? I say no. But this guy, you can think about Musk, Elon Musk, whatever you want to. But he's quite clever. If you look at what he's doing, he's starting with his own battery production and power charging. He's got a company called OpenAI, and they are mainly focused on managing grids, electricity grids. Then he started his project of Hyperloop, the smart transportation in the city. And then he started his business called Neuralink. You know Neuralink? Neuralink was very, very hidden at the moment, but tomorrow they will present their cases. Yesterday they did? All right. So what was the key issue?
Basically, it's implanting micro probes into your brain. It's a brain-machine interface. First to cure diseases related to the brain, and then to kind of give us an edge over AI. He, I think, anticipates a threat from artificial intelligence.
Right.
So there is benign AI and there is a dystopian view of AI. So he's preparing humankind to have an edge over technology.
And then connect that with, I want to go somewhere, and I think that,
Possibly.
and I get the proposal, and I walk out of the door, and I see the smart robotaxi standing right in front of me. And to provide all that services, he went to space, and I know you in India, you're going to space as well. So he started SpaceX, and he didn't do that for fun. No, it was about the next thing, the 5G, the providing of satellite services. So what he's doing there, he's providing a whole ecosystem for mobility. So me, as a guy who is consulting big OEMs, I'm sort of worried. So this is us, EDG. What do? We raise awareness, we read the signals as we did at the moment together. We develop together a blueprint of where the world is going to. We define a strategy for a company. We install innovation, architectures in companies. We ideate, we develop proof of concepts, and we scale and pivot. And I love to do that with you together here in India. EDG is in Palo Alto, Switzerland, and Slovenia. And in Slovenia, we are running an AV Living Lab at BTC. AV Living Lab at BTC, it's an 11 square kilometers ground. We've got a shopping area there. It's the biggest in Eastern Europe. We've got 22 million visitors there, and there we test AV Living Lab solutions. So welcome, connect, and see what we can do together. Thank you very much.